Hey, what's up? It's Ryan Bird, Squid Leader. I'm sitting here to give you a rundown of the new song Creatures Walking Around that I've written. It's about the Las Vegas alien backyard incident of 2023 that I really don't want people to forget about because new evidence has surfaced and forensic analysis of the video has shown that there are possibly images captured of cloaked aliens. I repeat, cloaked aliens, somehow using some sort of cloaking device to hide because they're right in front of one of these people or several of them at the fence line. You could see a head. And this is near and dear to my heart because when I saw that image, I saw something that I've seen on Salvia Divinorum. I had an experience where I was um, you could say almost abducted by gray alien beings. They weren't the typical grays, but they were gray and they had black holes for eyes type of thing. Um, this is a very similar look, diaphanous, like a see-through kind of thing, but it's a gray, shadowy. You can sense that it's present. Now, in this video footage, it would have been that the camera picked it up possibly, and to the naked eye, it wouldn't have been easy to see. But the camera got it, and the camera doesn't lie in this case. So, um, basically, with all the stuff with UFOs, UAPs, extraterrestrials, and disclosure and congressional hearings, well, I have a long interest in UFOs and aliens. And I figured, well, why not take some of these congressional hearings and, sample some of them for some songs? That'd be great material. And I've begun doing that. And that led me down back to the path of this incident that occurred. And I couldn't believe what I found when I discovered that this was the new evidence and really was not being heavily discussed. I mean, it's been on news outlets, but not like, I don't know, it's not been virally discussed. And I think it's just an amazing moment that highlights something of importance. There are things going on, and there are beings, there are alien intelligence and non-human intelligence. And I'll let you know something here is in my research, whatever that is, I came across someone saying that they live in New Mexico and um, they have family or friends and such that are close to people who work in these bases that are secret, apparently, for the Air Force or whatever, whoever it is, these secret ops that are going on that have to do with back engineering UFOs, and that they're being a little bit more loose-lipped about some of the things that are happening because of recent disclosure, because of recent testimony. Things are kind of um, just people aren't as afraid to talk, I guess. So there's been maybe some through the grapevine information, and the information regarding that incident in Las Vegas was that it was aliens that had a malfunction of their ship. They had to temporarily land and wait for them to get teleported by us. That's right, the humans who are working with them, the ones at the Air Force or the military base or the private corporation or whoever is running these ops, right? They are working with these beings, these aliens, these entities or creatures, and we have teleportation. We have teleportation, and they had to teleport them out of the situation. And it's so crazy. Well, that's my other song, Teleportation Dub. That was in response to that idea that they were teleported and that they were hiding around these forklifts. So, the artwork had aliens on forklifts, and my meme joke was kind of, what is this? Aliens are now forklift certified. I made that one of my Dr. Squid Leader videos. And um, I think, I just wonder. I'm like, what in the first place were they doing? Like, if there's some sort of mission or something that they're on, or are they just flying around on a test run, or are they on a mission to go get something or do something or survey something? Or, I mean, what agenda of sorts is there going on with these beings if they're working with us? It's kind of scary, right? And as Dan Aykroyd said, I'll quote, a little bit of fear is warranted, that we should be afraid. This is kind of makes you wonder. And because I've wondered if our government has had contact with aliens, then why haven't they shifted like into a world peace agenda? Um, why would it why if aliens have made themselves present and known to the government, why did that not trigger in them a um decision to make peace more of a primary concern? It might be that the aliens aren't 100% peaceful, or their agenda is mixed and they have some sort of kind of quota to meet for themselves. And so, they can't, unfortunately, uh, tally things up at our level of loss. And so, whatever they're taking from us, if it's some sort of thing like experimenting or whatever, cattle mutilations or some sort of genetic thing, um, I mean, that's concerning. Um, there just might be like a lack of an ability to register in some respects. Like, we think of aliens possibly being highly sophisticated in ways that we're not, but they also might just have qualities we don't have. Like, they might not be emotionally hypersensitive. They might be more logical, like Spock. And they do things based on more intuitive decision making, almost more of a primal instinct. And I've been thinking that I have a feeling that there's a more of an insectoid collective consciousness working amongst these aliens, and they don't have individual consciousness like we do. They're not mammalian, they're like insectoid in some respects. So there's like an ant colony, and they just kind of are doing their stuff, psychically working together to just continue producing, continuing to uphold their colony and uphold themselves as a species. And so the thoughts and decisions they make are only according to that rule. And that could lead them to being, highly sophisticated, intelligent life forms, but at the same time, they're not necessarily um, at the mercy of human emotions. Like, we have something definitely different. As humans, we are very emotional beings, and that is the thing. I think, when we depict aliens in pop culture, it's either like a friendly ET, or a very like um, destructive alien of some kind that doesn't really have any care for or concern for whether you live or die. It's not out there to preserve life. It's out there to preserve its own life. And that could mean taking the life of other things. So that is crazy. I don't know. Are these beings physical? I mean, there has to be something physical, I guess, for them to have to a ship malfunction or have to be teleported. So they're, I believe, maybe more interdimensional, um, physical, but not bound by the same physics per se. Like their body might be electrical or purely an electrical body. Like um, they they might light and electricity and some um, other form of cohesion that makes them up. But um, I don't know. I try to put it into the music for the purpose of keeping that conversation going, keeping it ripe, and making people kind of think about these things, because I think it's really a very um I don't you could say it's a debatable topic. I think we're beyond the point of debate. I think it's a point of what is really going on, and it's hard to really debate what's really going on. It's and so this subject is more like a revealing and into the ways things have been working that we're unaware of, and it makes you question things, reality. And so there's not necessarily where it used to be in the past, you know, almost 40 years ago, it would be like you could just denounce it, right? There was a lot of denouncement towards it just being a lot of, a lot of naysayers and such, that just it seemed kind of like wacky, right? And there wasn't enough evidence per se, you could say, right? And now it has gotten to a point where we've seen enough footage. We've got government showing us footage now, revealing. And if you're in denial that that footage shows something, then, it's like you can't debate against that. The camera, again, doesn't lie. So I think it's worthwhile. I include it in a music. And so, anyhow, let me share with you this song. What I did is I copied a news headline or a news announcement from news anchor that I thought was a cool intro, and I'd heard this like, I mean, probably when I first listened to this. I don't know. This goes way back actually. So like, I would say two 2.5 years. There was a point where when this first came up, the Las Vegas incident, I was like, wow, this is crazy. I wasn't just looking at like, oh, those guys, trying to say aliens are in their backyard. I was like, dude, for real. I mean, these guys are not joking around. Why would you call 911? Like, I can't even think for a moment like how I would like convince myself or my friends to be like, hey, let's say we got a UFO in the backyard and there's aliens walking around. Let's call 911 and like mess with them or something. I mean, like, and get on the news and like I don't and not really be welcoming that to happen, right? And then in the aftermath, you're just kind of like, no, that's not, this really happened. And so I found it very believable. And there was a news story. So the anchor's like, a family has called 911 saying they saw something land in their backyard and creatures walking around. And the way he said creatures walking around. So I took that sample and I had made a beat, and it was more like a house beat. I think it was like I can't find the old Ableton song, and I was probably going back looking to find it, and then I just said, whatever, I'm gonna make a new song with this, and I took it, and I've been going into making some dubstep beats lately, so I thought this was perfect, and it just came together. Like I don't know, it just came together because I could use that creatures walking around, and um, I love it. I mean, it's like to me, it's just got that element of weirdness that I like and want to hear in something, and so when I got this beat together and it started coming together, I was listening to it a bunch, just loving it. Like, oh my God, I'm happy about this song. And so let's share this. Let's see here. Let me hit play and we'll just get it going.
Family says something crashed into their backyard, prompting them to call 911, saying they saw creatures walking around. program where the government collects some unidentified objects.
That's right. There we go. Right at 420. Whoop. All right. So yeah, that song, "Creatures Walking Around." Um, had to clock it at 420. I had a lot of fun with it, like that intro. Using like some static. I used some like, I think some channel changing sample. Um, static, like the TV knob and that sort of thing, and um, then I got to use a lot of UFO samples. So I got a bunch of those, which are cool because they'll like pan. If you're listening in headphones, it'll be like, so you get a lot of like space effects in there. Um, and so that was fun to play with, like some fun sound design. And the bass, I got really just wicked with it. And this one, I mean, this one's not, there's no, there's no guitar, there's no live instrument. This was kind of me just saying, I'll just make this one all like in the box and kind of with a concept, kind of using the bass to just like build off of in every way, so I could just create layers and stuff that happens according to the bass. And the bass was a synth, so I could manipulate it and do all sorts of stuff. And it was just easy. Like it kind of just came together. And rather than, a lot of these other songs I've got right now, I've put bass, guitar, or, there's even drumming that I've sampled or looped or done, overlaying. And there's a lot of percussion stuff I'm doing. And so this one was just what it is. That's kind of what I was just doing. I'm just doing this to make the song. This doesn't have to be about like, oh, I threw the bass, I played the bass on this or anything like that. It's just like I was happy with it once it came together and just sounded fat. I was like, that's it. That's all I need. I don't need to try to add more to it than what it has. It was fine. I filled out all the space and I was content, and so I'm happy with the way it came out. I'm hoping it's being well received from people and they're kind of enjoying the fun that I had with it. Um, and I'd love to hear some feedback or thoughts about the incident in Las Vegas and how this relates to that and what you think or feel about that. And um, I could just ask, if you can share this, share the song. You can download it. I should have a free download. Um, I mean, somewhere I could, I'll try to put a link into this somehow. And it's out. It's on all streaming platforms. And this is going to be the last. This is the last song that I'm going to release out on Spotify. And just because mixed feelings about, not mixed feelings at all. I mean, just like I don't agree, right? Why would this guy have to be involved in that? This guy kind of seems like not the greatest. So um why support him? Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's taken a huge chunk of anything from me, but I'm not willing to give him much more. Um so this is the last one that I've done on Spotify, which honestly is kind of going to be it kind of going to make things a little tricky because Spotify um gives people a different thing through advertisements. You can have a free Spotify membership, listen to full songs, but it's free and it's through the advertising that you're able to do that. And with other platforms, you can't. And so like that's the big deal about Spotify, that people will have a Spotify because you can listen to a whole song there. You can't have like a Deezer uh account and listen to whole songs unless you're paying for their service. I think the same thing with Apple, iTunes, all like it's all controlled in a sense. And like the reason why Spotify has such success is because it's more accessible to everybody. And so people are on it to actually listen to music. And um, so I don't know. I mean, let's put it this way, as I think about it right now, I'm going to have to just test how well this goes. It's not about the money, it's also about the reach and like just trying to connect with people. And if there are people I'm missing out that I would find through Spotify, then I might have to reconsider future releases and whether or not I put them on Spotify. But so far, this is the last one, and since then I put out come today, Non-Human Intelligence came out, which features a bunch of samples from congressional testimony. And um, yeah, that kind of lost my train of thought there. We got that song out today, this song out. And so, yeah, I'm just thinking, no, what I'm thinking is just how putting that song out, I noticed that's when I first noticed. I was like, without Spotify, this is a big, it's not the same. It's not the same. When you put out a song, like people are not like the majority, it's almost like 80 to 90% of people are Spotify. And you're lucky if, I don't even know if, 10 to 20% are truly going to be even these other things representing them and using the button to click on like a link for Deezer or a link for Tidal or some, or Apple or whatever. It's just like, it's a standard and it's somehow so integrated that, like the decide to opt out on it is like a big, almost somewhat of a disservice to yourself, because again, it's like yeah, we're not getting paid good for all this and in terms of, streaming revenue and everything, but connecting with people and hopefully, bridging them into what you're doing, bringing them into the fold, building a community. Uh, you know, I don't want to necessarily lose everything. So that's why I basically, instead of going all the way and saying I'm taking everything off Spotify and all that, because that would be a big, like, that would be really hard. That's difficult. That would throw off everything I've worked for. And so that's why I'm choosing to just kind of like be like, all right, I'm going to try moving forward and I just won't put my new stuff out on Spotify. And I'm going to, like I said, now I'm thinking about, I'm going to see how that goes, because I might end up regretting that, when it comes down to promoting stuff and, and being promoted, because there's opportunity to be promoted through playlists and all and such, and getting your song heard to more people through that platform than any other platform has to offer. I mean, that's the thing. All the other alternatives, they don't have that sort of thing to offer that I know of. There's no real like thing for artists, because Spotify has a thing for artists. So that you do get to pitch a song. If you're releasing a song, you can pitch it to them to try to get on playlists. That's kind of a big deal, because you could end up getting a lot of plays. It could change, a lot of things for you. And where else are you even getting that opportunity? So it's a it's a little tricky. I mean, I basically am showing that I'm trying to be true to what I believe in and what I stand for. But it's also going to have to I'm going to have to weigh that against how it affects me as an artist and how much I can grow and connect with a fan base and such and build a fan base, and it could be a limiting factor, or or maybe not. I mean, I've because the other thing is I've thought about what is the alternative, because I'm chasing streams. Am I really getting to make a connection with people? Am I really making true fans, or are they just, or am I making some, but then a majority of them are just somehow they're like people that listen and doesn't matter. And and then I thought about it, I'm like, CDs are something that I could put in the hand of somebody, and if they listen to it and they hold on to it and everything, I've made a deeper, closer connection with them with one CD and one person than I have with just like what, one stream or 10 streams. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? So I decided, it's time to make a CD, because someone also said recently that I reminded them I'm so 90s, and I thought that was interesting. And and I thought about that more, and I'm like, I am 90s. I mean, I grew up in the 90s. It was a peak era for me. It was kind of like my summer of love in a certain psychedelic sense. A coming of age era, and I experienced also tragedy and other things that it was uh, quite quite a time. Um, and but also the music and the culture. I was definitely a part of that, and so it's something I embody. And I realized, when you kind of look at, like, say, the music, you think of the era, you think of the '90s and what's all associated with it. Well, the '90s was actually the decade where the CD was all throughout that decade, and it wasn't really until what is it, 99, that we were at a point where you could download MP3s from the internet, and then it started, kind of phasing. So I think of the CD representing the '90s in a very, very solid way. I mean, and the CD being solid like that. And so my personal experience with CDs is huge, like hundreds and hundreds of CDs. I've had stacks of them, I've burned so many, I've given out so many. And that's the whole thing, is my music experience prior to the digital age was all CDs. I mean, it was digital, but like MP3s, let's say, like our music, we could give them a CD. And I just think that that was so much more meaningful and so much deeper of a way to connect with people than where we're at right now. It's not, it doesn't, feels like you're reaching, like right now I'm just kind of reaching. I don't know who's going to listen to this right now, right? I don't have like 50 to 100 people for sure that are just going to tune into this because I'm just happening to be, throwing up a video. And with, if I went out on the street, walked up and down the avenue, and just kind of like saw people that I was like, well, you seem cool. Hey, check it out, and try to like literally hawk my CD, just like old school musicians and rappers hawking CDs out of the back of their car. I mean, you're building this fan base, you're making money, you're also making more money, way more money. I mean, I have only made, in 5 years of streaming, I haven't made more than $20. I've made like 17, almost $18. That's it. And that's just streaming my music through DistroKid. And I've only gotten like, I mean, I don't have thousands of plays. I have like a couple to a few thousand plays total. So I'm kind of lucky because they're capping it off. If you don't have 1,000 plays, you're kind of screwed, like, and so I'm lucky in that sense. Um, but um, I just, I haven't made that much. And so if you think about it, it's like I've only made like not even $20, but if I made a CD and it was dope enough, I mean, I could charge $20 for that CD by itself, just kind of like a retail, price. Probably won't. Probably think 15 is maybe the tops I'm gonna go, kind of like 15, and then like talk people down and settle for 10. You know what I mean? But then it's like still a cool thing. You're making still a good return. You're connecting with a person who now has a CD that they're not, it's like they're going to set it down, they're going to remember you, they're going to see it, they're going to play it, they're going to rip it, they're going to, their friends going to see it or somebody, close to them, and they're going to be like, oh, what's this? And so you're turning on not just them but other people potentially, and they might loan it to them, or you've just expanded upon that. And if you talk to them and ask them to, the chances are higher that they will. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'll share my stuff. I've got a friend who just loves new music or something, and they'd love to see this. I'm probably going to pass it right along to them, So talking to people directly is my plan. Like I'm going to make this CD, and then I'm going to be spending as much time as I can on College Avenue here in Fort Collins, just looking for cool people and try and sell it on the street, like straight up. Like I'm hooking people up, and I will, do that hustle until I can't do that hustle, like, or whatever, or till that's just I don't have the time and there's other ways to get the CD into people's hands. But I will go out there and start drumming it up like one on one by one, and getting those people's emails. Like, see, it's all a transaction, and that you can benefit from, and you benefit this person. I mean, you're hooking them up with something. I personally love my music. I listen to my music all the time, and um so I've invested myself into it. I've invested hours and hours and hours listening to my own music, that I mean, I'd love for other people to be able to do the same, because it brings me joy. I enjoy my music, and it's just a matter of getting it into people's hands and getting it to the right ears. And the whole thing about like having to run ads and promote yourself through the whole digital thing, there's there's an aspect to that is just very shallow, or um it just it you just don't know who you're speaking to, right? And this way you can actually kind of like look for who might identify with, what you're doing, and not to just like, I mean, not to judge people, but I mean to like just kind of like get an idea. I mean, why am I going to go try to, get somebody who's not really into my shit, obviously, to listen to it, when I could tell that like, oh man, you're a tripper, you're a stoner, you're into this. I could tell, check it and put it into their hands. So I mean, I had that realization. That's what I'm going to be doing moving forward, and you can be looking forward to that. And I want to hook people up, and um, so anyhow, yeah, this was kind of a long thing. I've been meaning to do, more of this kind of stuff. Expect more of this, where I'm talking and, talking behind the scenes, kind of giving breakdowns, maybe going deeper into Ableton, and hopefully fielding more questions from people wanting to know more about production, or what I've done in a specific song, or per se. So I mean, if anybody out there watches this and you do have questions and you want to know more, please feel free to ask, because it'll just help me make more content. I'll make some content for you. And um you know anybody watching this, I appreciate you taking the time doing so. And if you've done anything to share my stuff, I appreciate that so much. And if I appreciate you if you can, continue doing so. And It makes a world of difference to me. It's huge. Uh, and I'm at a point right now where I've gone from things being rather stagnant to there's an uptick that I have been needing to get going. And I've done some things in my life in order to kind of remove energy blocks or obstacles in my mind and such, that it's amazing how much has just come in to replace that. And so there's a huge wave of activity regarding Sound of Slime and everything I'm doing. And I want you to be a part of it. Be a part of it. Let me know who you are. Say hi. If hell, I mean, I'm not asking for criticism necessarily, but I mean, you want to talk shit to me, talk shit. I mean, something, vibe with me, I don't care. But like, um, I mean, yeah, I'm not offering, don't troll me, but like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just asking, like, have some interaction with me. I want you, you're a part of this. You don't have, I mean, all this is about like, we're all kind of one consciousness, that concept, and that with like this whole slime thing is a kind of a way of identifying one another with that understanding, right? Like it's something that bridges between different aspects of culture. Like, so you could have slime in punk rock, you can have slime in hip hop, you can have slime in metal, you can have slime in electronic, and all these different like genres and cultures, this aesthetic and this understanding of this thing, when you equate it to consciousness as a representation of like formlessness and fluidity and non-Newtonian form, you know, then you're entering territory that is conceptual, and that helps like identify one another, that we're all on this similar wavelength, and we might be different branches, but and different leaves or whatever we are, but we're the same, from the same root in some way, and that slime is something connecting us, and that's what Sound of Slime is. That's what all the slime that I'm doing is about. It's just to me, slime represents something that is going to bring us together as what when ooh, when normally a lot of division has existed amongst different forms of music and different subcultures. What I hope to do with slime is break down those boundaries for people so they don't feel like they have to be bound to like just being a punk rock guy, who you got to be hung up on only liking punk because you're scared to say that you actually like electronic music or something, like, or hip hop. And that slime is this thing where it's like, like someone, it's like, dude, this is cool and this is cool. And it's all like, it's all cool. It all has this feature, right? So it's all in this similar, there's a similar vein, and so you shouldn't be afraid to like cross pollinate and enjoy all of it. If you see the slime is there, then it's welcoming you, it's inviting you, it's saying you're welcome in this, you're part of this, whether you're punk rock or hip hop or raver, whatever culture you are, hippie or whatever. If you see the slime, you identify with it, you're part of it, then we're all on that same slime wavelength and we understand. And it's the irony of people can use slime like in a negative connotation, but just the same as we can flip it in a totally positive thing. Slime is a neutral thing that can be made positive or negative, however you view it, in kind of a quantum sense of it's the observer making it what it is in some way. So, also it's like through this movement, we turning slime into our own thing that empowers us. We take control of it and are architects of the storyline, and so you can call us a slime ball and hell, we just love it that much more, So, um, and we can we can be the ones to really truly show the negative and the positive. And so slime isn't something that should be thought of as like it's just this nasty, gross, negative thing, or um, it's like it actually it's a positive thing. It can be a very, very, very positive thing because the idea is that it frees you up. It's a concept. It's like it's a philosophy around form, and so like it's like a Platonic philosophy regarding the Platonic forms. Throw slime into the equation, and you have something that doesn't exist within these forms necessarily. It shifts. It's the thing that goes between all forms is slime. And so it's a very philosophical concept. And I would entertain and encourage more people to uh, entertain this idea of conceptualizing slime in philosophical sense. And I've explained it to people that this is like, you have George Clinton, and he took the word funk and he made it something beyond what it was. Like he took it and added a whole new spin on what the word funk meant. And funk is the same kind of word. It's like you make it either good or bad depending on how you use it. And he he made it like so powerful. He empowered himself with empowering the word and empowering his brothers and sisters to use the word to empower themselves, and they all just got functified, right? And that has had an influence on our culture. And um so I equate the whole slime thing, if it's hard to conceptualize, like it's like funk is to George Clinton and P Funk and Funkadelic, slime is to like everything happening right now. I'm not trying to say anything or anyone is like doing slime. I'm not. It's not me, right? This is more of a collective conscious thing that I've witnessed. If you take a step back and you look at um, everything from design, brand, logos, merchandising, videos, live performances, posters, visuals, and all these things, the element of slime that has been displayed over this decade has been truly, I think, astronomical and phenomenal. It's something that when it was 2020, I predicted we were going to be moving into this. And it's already had momentum going back in the past. There were people kind of pushing this sort of idea with slime and music. And um, I think there's I think a lot of people, when presented with this concept, would embrace it, because I think that's where we're at right now, where with music and music culture, you can't know. It's really hard to say, that you're so just one thing. I mean, sure there are, but like even those people who are so, determined to be punk rock, and that's the thing. I mean, everybody's kind of got their like, snobs, if you want to call them, to some degree. Uh, people get very articulated towards one thing, but they still will like maybe something else. And and basically it's also not hate on other things. Like there's a relationship here, you hating on that isn't good. There's no point to it. I can understand hate on like mainstream and stuff, but see this, like you might see slime in the mainstream, but they don't get it like I'm describing it. They're not doing that like necessarily. It hasn't hit that level of like being a thing about consciousness. It's just been like in a superficial sense within mainstream hip hop. It's about money. It's about sex, and uh, and then like when you get into the underground of hip hop, it's about being friends. It's about like slime is your closest friends, and homies are your slime. And But like the mainstream, all it kind of, you see a lot of rappers, and I don't want to really talk shit, but like their form of slime is materialistic, and it's money, it's sex, and it's drugs and those kind of things. Whereas the concept of slime that I'm trying to promote is it's just purely consciousness, like, um, and it has, well, there's a moral compass, I guess, to it. There's a conscious awareness, and so there's a moral, I guess, ethical ground, somewhat, of slime, that it's, um, I guess, not meant to be anything like that is preying upon people, or that it's not this ego driven thing, right? That it's the psychedelic thing of, we're all slime, we all kind of melt together, we're all, there's this one interconnected bowl of soup, slime, that we're all kind of living in, and it's visible or whatever, and but we're connected. And because if you turn it into material stuff, you create disconnection. I mean, because you're focusing on things that aren't truly legitimate. Like, consciousness is legit, it exists. Money is something we've created, we made up, and we're using it in our own terms. But consciousness exists, and it's living on its own terms. And so, um, that's where I see slime, and I hope you can vibe with that. And I've been going off on a rant, and I hope if anyone watched this, they enjoyed it. And again, give me some feedback, vibe with us, and expect some more. I'm gonna sign out. Love you guys. Take care. I'll check you on the next one. Get slimed, oh. Get slimed. Like, get slimed. Yo. Yo. All right. Peace.